Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. Alexa, what's the date today?
It's Sunday the 27th of February.
And Alexa, what's the time?
The time is 8:29 a.m.
And Alexa, the weather.
In Rochester, it's 3 degrees Celsius with clear skies and sun. Today, you can expect mostly sunny weather with a high of 8 degrees and a low of 3 degrees.
Right, yesterday I had a call from my mum in the morning and she worries about me because I'm on my own. I'm getting a lot of bullying and harassment from upstairs and she worried about me. So I was walking Max around the field yesterday morning when Mum rang and it was later than normal, and she said to me, would you like to come up? So he'd gone out upstairs and it was quiet anyway, but I said, okay Mum, I'll come up and see you. So a taxi came about 11:15. It was a foreign guy. He sounded Polish, and he I think he rang my mum up and said he was waiting outside, and I couldn't see the taxi. So my mum said, go downstairs, she said, and he's waiting for you. So I went downstairs in the flats, and there was a couple with kids, and they mentioned the word dog, D-O-G, dog, because I had Max with me. So I went out the back entrance, and around, and the workmen have left a great big trench-like hole. It's terrible. There's a big hole by the side of the flats. So I walked past the fencing and the taxi driver was outside the flats. And then I rushed up towards it and the taxi drove off to block 9. Block 9 it drove off to, and I was about to open the car door and the taxi drove off to block 9 and I felt like an idiot. So I got in the car and he said, make sure you put the dog on your lap, because they don't like the dog on the car seat. So I put Max on my lap. And he didn't say a word, the taxi driver, right up until we got to near the Upper Luton Road. And then he was talking about getting a female dog for Max. And then he started talking when I was nearly at my mother's. And he was talking about getting a female dog for Max. He needs a lady dog. Got out and my mum was at the door. She was at the door in her jeans and she had a black cardigan on. She looked quite nice, but she's very pale. She looked like she had anemia. So I went into my mum's flat, and obviously she'd had some shopping. There was a load of sweets on the table. She had a stocked up freezer and cakes, lots of food. Whereas over the past few days I haven't had very much because I've been stuck indoors with hardly anything. So I sat down and the news was on. Mum always puts the news on. So the news was on about Russia invading Ukraine. So we watched that and we chatted. And obviously most of the conversation is about the guy upstairs causing me grief with all the noise, because that's all that's going on with me at the moment. And the only thing I can think of is to move out with somebody else and get away from here that way. And that's all I can think of, because the housing's not helping me, the harassment's getting worse, and I just can't deal with it at the moment. It's doing my head in, it really is. So like I said, we chatted and then I said, you're very pale, Mum. do you think you need something to eat? She said, no, eating makes her feel sick. But in the end, we decided on a takeaway, Sandu's takeaway in Gillingham. And an elderly Sikh man delivers the food to Mum's address, not mine. I didn't have the takeaway here. The takeaway came to my mum's flat. And my mum answered the door and paid him. Very nice it was too. Two cheeseburger quarter pounders, chips. My mum had garlic bread and she asked for a different ice cream than Ben and Jerry's, and we were given Magnum ice cream. Now that was a nickname for my father years ago, Magnum, because he had curly brown hair, a moustache, and he looked like Magnum. So they offered us Magnum. So we sat down and ate the takeaway, which was absolutely delicious. Max was up at my mum's, so the flat just had the two cats in it here. And the takeaway was absolutely lovely. It was delicious, well cooked, fresh. I couldn't fault it. After the takeaway, again we chatted. Max went out in my mum's little area for a wee. I didn't take him out for a walk because, as you know, when I took Max out for a walk, some kids tried to kick a ball at Max's head. So I just let Max out in a little area. Why they're targeting Max, I don't know, because he hasn't done anything to anybody. So I stayed around my mum's until about 4 o'clock, and the guy upstairs, when I returned home, was not back. It was fairly quiet, just normal noise like you would expect on a school holiday and at the weekend. He wasn't back. Right, he came back later on in the evening, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and of course his kids were noisy. And my mum had said she'd gone to bed. Not me. Jennifer said she'd gone to bed, so he came back later than normal and his kids started running across the ceiling, which would have woken my mum up, but I was already awake anyway, and it didn't wake me up because I wasn't in bed. Right? It was my mum that had gone to bed about 5 o'clock because she felt sick and not well. So he wasn't waking me up. Even though it sounded like a herd of elephants coming across the ceiling, it didn't wake my mum up at all because she doesn't live here. The taxi came and it was the taxi driver that had driven me and my mum to a flu jab in Lordswood. He asked me what type of dog this was. I said a Chihuahua, and that was the only conversation we had. And he dropped me outside this block of flats, and I went into the flats where I said it was quiet. But I don't know where he was upstairs. I mean, I've caught him like going out the same time as me. Up when I've walked across the field, his car's been there. I don't know what was going on. It doesn't really bother me. I'm just grateful for the peace that I get when him and his kids are out. And then I can be me and do what I need to do. Now, they got up at 6:30 on a Sunday. They woke me up, not my mother, and I went back and laid down, and I don't let it bother me. But underneath it does. It makes you feel ill and horrible. So that's all started again. What happened in 2020 and 21. I don't know why he started again. I'm not interested in him. I never have been. My mum said that I will meet somebody nice in the future and to stay away from him.